This is Scott Hansen. I'm a professor at Southern Utah University. I teach in the CAD/CAM engineering technology area. And this module of SolidWorks will include instruction on how to create a basic part and how to project that part into a 3-view drawing. First, we'll move our cursor to the little white piece of paper in the upper left corner of the screen. We'll left click on that. That brings up the new SolidWorks document dialog box. These are the 3 types of documents you can create. We're first going to create a very simple part, and then we will use that part to create a drawing. So right now we'll start with a part. Left click on OK. This is the features area where a solid is extruded, revolved, swept, these types of things. First we're going to have to create some geometry before we can work in this area, so we have to left click on the sketch tab, and then we have to create a new sketch. So we'll move our cursor to the sketch icon. We'll left click one time, move our cursor to the front plane. Once it becomes highlighted, we'll left click once, and we'll right click and left click on display grid. This way we can tell if we're in the features area or the sketch area. We'll move our cursor up here to the line command. We'll left click one time, and we'll just make a simple drawing. We'll draw a sketch that looks something like this. And then we'll right click, select. That's the same thing as hitting this green check mark over here. That gets us out of the line command. We'll left click on the smart dimension command, move our cursor down to this top line, left click, and we'll enter a 1, and we'll dimension this side to 2, dimension this right side to 1, and we'll dimension our overall length to 5. Then we'll right click, left click on select, and we'll right click again, left click on exit sketch, and then I'm going to left click on the features tab, left click on extrude, we'll hit 2, enter, and we'll left click on OK. And I'm going to scroll out with the mouse wheel. You see that sketch back there. We'll left click out in the work area to hide that. We'll push the mouse wheel down. We can rotate it around. It's just a simple L. And then we're going to create a hole in the back here. I'm going to move my cursor to the back edge. Once it becomes highlighted, right click, left click on sketch. I'm going to move my cursor up to the circle command. I'm going to left click on circle, and I'm going to drag out a circle. I can left click on the green check mark. That's the same as right click and hitting select. Then we'll dimension this circle. I tried to lock it in close to the center there. Looks like I was able to do that on one of those directions. Then we'll dimension the circle to 1.5 and hit enter. Then we'll hit the green check mark. That gets us out of the dimension command. We'll right click, exit sketch. SolidWorks did change the features tab this time, so we don't have to select the features tab. It's already been selected. These are the tools that are used to create a solid and edit a solid. We're going to use the extruded cut command. We'll left click on the extruded cut command. It's already found the circle that we just created. We'll enter a 5 for our extruded cut distance, and we'll left click on the green check mark. And if we left click out in the work area, that will hide that sketch. Push the mouse wheel down, and we have just a simple part with a hole in the middle. Now this part will need to be saved. I move my cursor to this little arrow to the very right of the SolidWorks text, and a little flyout menu will appear. We'll left click on File, Save, and we'll just put it right there in the default directory. The reason we have to save it is because we're going to create a drawing out of this part, and that's the first error message that will occur if you try and create a drawing without it being saved. Now we'll move the cursor to the little white piece of paper, leave the drawing open. To the right of the little white piece of paper is a drop down arrow. Left click on that, and we'll left click on Make Drawing from Part/Assembly. Left click on that. We're just going to take the defaults here, ANSI Landscape. We'll left click on OK. Now the view palette comes up as the default, and this allows you to pick which view you want to be the top, front, or side view. We want this to be the front view, and luckily it is labeled front view like we'd like. If we'd like the back to be the front view, we simply drag that view off and we create the front view out of that back view. Or if somebody wanted to use the top view as the front view, this was constructed on the front plane. That's what will dictate how SolidWorks assigns these views. If I had drawn what looks like to be the front sketch on the top plane, then this would be labeled top. So front, coincidentally, is what we want to use for the front plane, or the front view. So I'm going to left click, holding the left mouse button down, and I'm just going to drag this over. The left click. Now hooked to the cursor is going to be the additional views. And we'll left click, and then we'll drag up an isometric view here. We'll left click. And then there's going to be views still attached to the cursor. Just ignore those and left click on the green check mark. Now if we want to create a solid out of the isometric view, we left click on that. That brings up the Drawing View 4 panel. We left click on the Shaded with Edges and left click on the green check mark. And this concludes this module on how to create a simple part and project that part into a 3-view drawing.